I think a reality that's setting in for me in my early 20s is the fact that I struggle with making friends. I would say from age 10 to 12 to about 20, I was a pretty active social person. I would say that in school I had a lot of friends, I had a lot of colleagues in classes and lunch and gym class, and overall I didn't have a tough time making friends as I do now. Right after high school, I decided to really get on it and get responsible right away. And I think my lack of kind of socially going out kind of hindered my ability to really make friends. I think I was so invested in what I was doing that a lot of the friends that I did have, they ended up going off to college or trade school or just, going on with their own lives. And I never really kept up with them. And I think that's a part of my personality is that I found my peace early. And not a lot of people can say that they got to do that. Not a lot of people can say that, they were able to, buy their own car and get a good job in their early 20s. And I was grateful enough to have those opportunities. And I think that kind of hindered me away from a lot of people my age. I think a lot of people my age are, going out, having fun, going to bars, not really worried about, what's next in their adulthood. But for me, I'm always worried about, what's going on in the stock market. I'm always worried about how I'm performing, whether it's my job, it's my content that I do on here. I'm always trying to improve and get better. And I think my overall mindset is a lot different from people my age. And I'm not saying I'm better than somebody. I'm not saying that, you know, having fun is bad, but I think that mentality is why I kind of overall struggle with making friends in general. My parents and my family always instilled in me, if you want something, you got to work for it. You're not just given everything. So even when I was in high school and even through the pandemic, I was still working. Like I think that's what kind of gave me a leg up that are the same age as me is the fact that I still worked a lot. Picking up extra hours at the liquor store that I worked at, or just figuring out new skills, new things that I enjoyed. I From an early age, I've always had this crazy work ethic, and I think sometimes it works kind of ass backwards because I only worry about that. I'm not, really worried about anything else except for myself, and maybe I come across as kind of a selfish person, and I don't want to come across like that, but at the end of the day, I think it's just most people they're not on the same mentality, the same mindset as me, so it's hard for me to relate to people my age. I think that's the best way that I can kind of describe myself as it's hard for me to relate to anybody my age. I've always related to older people more. I've always kind of enjoyed talking to older people more. And at the end of the day, I don't really think it's a serious problem. I still have people that look out for me. I still have people that I hang out with sometimes. But as far as making new friends, every other week or every other month, I don't really partake in doing that a lot. And I don't want this video to come across as me saying that going out and partying and meeting random people is bad. I don't want that to come across as my main energy. But for me, I just feel like when I'm working on myself, I just gotta work on me. I don't have any distractions. I don't have anything that's gonna bother that internal peace that I have with myself. The thing is I've seen a lot of people who are related to me and who I've been around that have gotten far behind in life, and I think a big part of why I am so gung ho on keeping my shit together in general is I just don't want to fall behind. In my eyes, I'm in a competition with myself every day. How am I going to be better than the person that I was yesterday? And a lot of people they end up getting behind because they just have useless relationships, useless friendships. I'm not a person that likes to waste my time, and if I feel like somebody's treating me weird or treating me wrong or disrespecting me, I'm just not gonna talk to that person anymore. I've cut off a lot of people in my life just because of the fact that I felt like I was taken advantage of. Like I remember coming out of high school. I was one of the only people that had a car, and I'd give rides to everybody, and it'd be like the sly remarks. It'd be like only one person, offer me, hey Mike, here's a little bit of gas money, like just kind of the luxury of, oh yeah, Mike's taking us home. Oh really? Am I? Like, but you're not working. I'm working. I'm paying gas in my car, and I'm driving us from school. Driving us out, going out fishing, like just little stuff like that that kind of built up, and I was like, all right, you're obviously not gonna try to better our friendship by saying, all right, you drive us out all the time, we'll buy dinner. No, it was kind of the same thing. It was kind of like almost like I was taken advantage of on the daily, and I really didn't like that. I didn't really respect the people that were doing that to me, and ultimately I cut them out of my life. You got to realize that some friends are only in your life for certain seasons. They're not supposed to be there forever. They're supposed to teach you lessons, and I think a lot of my friendships early on in high school were there to teach me lessons about respecting yourself, respecting who you are. Mentally, physically, I would say back then I wasn't in the best shape, but since October, I feel like I've been much more self aware of what I want in a friend, in a relationship. I'm grateful every day that I had that opportunity. And I just don't see a lot of people that have overall that same mindset as me. I don't want to keep repeating myself in this video. I know a lot of people kind of struggle just in general with the age of technology and social media in general. I feel like I could throw that in there too, like constantly being on our phones and not really organically meeting each other or meeting each other just on the internet, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. I feel like that's the new way, and I hate doing that. I'd rather meet someone face to face. My circle is very small for a reason, and it's really not a bad thing. When you keep your circle small, you keep your priorities limited, you keep the drama in your life limited, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I found my peace overall. I hope that you guys took something from this video. I hope I'm not boring you. I know I haven't done a long form content video in a while, but my new job's going great. I start in about 2 weeks. I met with my manager the other day. Things are going awesome. I'm on the come up, man. I waited a couple months for this, and I'm excited to get after it. I'm excited to meet new people in general and just have a good time. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you learned anything, if you liked anything, make sure to give it a like, give it a comment. I'll see you guys later.